to talk to our special guest today, Adam, and I'm gonna mispronounce his name. And he's hopefully going to. He's Adam Sigal is here. Adam, welcome to the Film Threat podcast. Here, we are so happy that you're with us today. Adam, let me put you center screen here. How's it going, Adam?
It's great, and you pronounced my name flawlessly. I couldn't have done it better myself.
Oh, great. Well, thank you for joining us. We've got a lot of people watching here today. They're going to have questions for you. Your movie Chariot opens today. Am I correct?
No, it opens in a week.
It opens in a week. Okay, great.
Yeah, close.
Opens in a week. It stars John Malkovich is in it, and you got an amazing cast. And it's you made a weird effed up movie, dude. I'm getting the vibes I'm getting, and tell me if I'm off. It felt a little Jacob's Ladder to me.
You're not off at all, man. I mean, you should see the stuff I sent to my DP, when we were prepping for this. It was like Jacob's Ladder, Jacob's Ladder, Jacob's Ladder.
You're kidding. Okay,
no, good. I love that movie, man.
Okay, good. Good. I'm glad I'm not off, because I'm like, wait a sec. I don't know what's real and what's not real, and you're messing with my head. So Chariot comes out a week from today. Want to let everyone know it's on. Is it coming to theaters, right?
Yeah, theaters
and video on demand same day or later?
I don't know, actually. That's a good question. I should probably do my research on that. It's definitely coming out on streaming, but it's doing theatrical first, so I'm guessing shortly thereafter.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
I think the note I have here, it's both. It's theaters and on demand.
There you go. You know better than me.
However you see it, but this is, it's important. Film Threat exists to support smaller independent films. How did you get this project going? You both wrote it and directed.
Yeah.
That is just, it's such a struggle. I've been there, made films myself. How did you get to where you are today? And I don't mean sitting talking to us, but put the project together, the money, and we're also gonna have questions for you from our chat. We're gonna take some chat questions as people look up your film. Definitely check out the trailer. You'll be freaked out. But tell us what got you here and how you put the project together.
And a lot of hustling. Honestly, I've gone a really weird route with my career. I want to make weird movies. I'm not really interested in making my theory with independent film is if I want to see Avengers, I'll go see Avengers and see it as a big budget film. If I'm going to see indie films, I want to see weird movies or movies that studios are not doing. Because if I want to see those movies, I'd rather go see a studio version with bigger stars and more money. So it's that was kind of always my thought process with indies. And so it's hard though, because they're not thrillers, and a lot of the on the distribution side, they're like, what in God's name is this? So it just kind of takes a lot of passion and a lot of pitching and a lot of being told that I'm crazy. And then in this case, finding the right investor who believed in it, which was my executive producer on this, Melissa. And then just, once it gets to the talent, the talent always like my scripts. If you can get through the agent barrier, which is it's another process entirely, then generally they respond well to it. And so with Chariot, the first piece of talent who attached was actually Rosa. And Rosa is just like me. She's just so avant-garde, so indie-minded, just wants to do weird stuff. And so it was great. So we vibed right away. And then meanwhile, I had a friend who, essentially she's kind of this older actress, and she said, who are you thinking for Dr. Karn? And I said, I'm thinking John Malkovich. And she's like, oh, he's my friend, I'll give him the script. I was like, oh, okay, sure. And then she reaches out to me a month later. She's like, hey, John read the script and he loved it. I'm like, oh, okay, sure. And she's like, no, he wants to Zoom with you. I was expecting somebody with a pop-up mask of Malkovich or something, but no, it's John. And he says, dude, this script's fantastic. I get so many bad scripts, and this is the first one I've seen where I'm not going to change my character's dialogue. He's like, I'm doing this, just book my travel. And I was like, all right, well, I mean, we should figure things out with your agent. He's like, yeah, go ahead, but book my travel, I'll be there, I'm doing this movie. I'm like, okay. And then sure enough, he did the movie. And so that was kind of the I guess the way that it got there on Chariot. And then in the past, just similar, just hustling and pitching and trying to make people see that different can be cool. And that, there was a period in the 90s where where even studios were doing cool movies, you know, and it's a little not happening now. There's a lot of formulaic stuff out there, but cool stuff does still get made. It just takes, as you know, as you said, being a filmmaker yourself, it just takes longer and is harder.
Well, it's never giving up, right? I mean, it's
That's
like,
exactly right. A almost insane amount of determination and delusion in one's own abilities.
yeah, 100%. It's
Yes.
now, how did you get Malkovich to, he kind of got into this character. Like, I feel like the scene with, like, all the scenes with him feel off in the sense of like he's unhinged. Like,
Yes.
Malkovich is always good, but I'm like, oh my God, like he really is. Like, did you give him a lot of leeway to go like,
No,
I want to kind of go wild over the top with this?
yeah. You know, listen, when I direct, kind of my directing philosophy is that I'm there steering the ship, but it's a bunch of artists who come together and they're all better at their art than I am, significantly. Like, Malkovich has forgotten more about acting and how to embody a character than I'll ever know. So I will kind of give them all the character notes that I can and what I intended for this character and what I intended for their journey as the writer. Then I just rely on them to achieve that and to make their own decisions. And somebody like John is very smart and very opinionated about a character that he's playing. And, you know, he's just, so he would email me and text me at all hours of the night sometimes and say, Adam, I think that this character should have a wig. And I was like, okay. And he's like, he's a phony, so I think he should have a fake wig, a bad wig, a bad looking wig. Can you get me a bad wig? I was like, John, I'm sure we can get you a bad wig. He's like, okay, excellent. You know, and so it was just that kind of thing. Like, he would give character ideas, and it was, you know, the first time he had one that I disagreed with was like a very harrowing moment for me. I was like, you know, I don't know about that idea. He's like, oh yeah, you're right. Okay, no problem. Like, John was just like, you know, an absolute prince to work with, just so collaborative and so cool. But to answer your question directly, like, I give that leeway to all the artists that are creating a film with me. I just kind of give the overall vision, and then I count on them to, you know, my production designers, like, look, you want a somber scene here, and this is it, and this is the emotion you're trying to invoke in your audience. Like, why don't I paint the wall this color instead of that color? I'm like, absolutely. You know, you know this. So.
Well, we're going to go to some questions in the chat. We have a lot of questions and comments for you in the chat, but I want to say also the way that I felt the movie was similar to Jacob's Ladder, and this is a good thing, is that the setting for the movie is practically a character in the movie. Yeah. Meaning the this apartment complex, which reminds me of some kind of frightening old school like apartment complexes up Wilshire Boulevard in LA. like it reminds me of
that's what I wanted.
Okay, it totally is a character in the movies. So can you speak to that? Because you have all this like great interplay. I mean, there's some really effed up conversations with, I don't want to spoil it too much. Look up to everyone in the chat and watching this later, you're watching the live stream replay, check out the trailer for Chariot. It is out April 15th in theaters, on demand, however you see it. But like, I you know, how did you find this place, and what were kind of the things you did to kind of make that there's like this? I mean, it just reminded me of some like sad early times when I first moved to Los Angeles. And
that's what I wanted. It's exactly what I wanted.
It worked.
No, okay, you nailed it, man. I would drive around and see these buildings that were like these old kind of dying retro vintage place. Like, there was one on Franklin forever, like right next to the Franklin Strip, that was like this. It was like a jungle when you went inside there, and it was so cool. Now, with that said, this building is in Little Rock, Arkansas, and we shot this movie in Arkansas. And basically, when we were putting this film together, you know, as you know, with indie filmmaking, a lot of it is based on a tax credit. And so we did this analysis of all these various states where we could shoot, where it had a good tax credit, and, you know, we could shoot this budget range without, you know, having big union problems. And Arkansas was kind of the top of the heap. And so they pitched me Arkansas, and I was like, are you guys effing kidding me? Like, I don't want to shoot this in Arkansas. And then they were like, no, let me show you some buildings and show you. And they sent me this building in Lafayette, and I was like, oh my God, like, this is perfect. And so I flew down there like 3 times to scout this place. And so it's actually in Chariot, it's actually 2 buildings. It's actually the Lafayette for like the lobby and all the beautiful, architecture. And then in Rosa and Thomas's apartments, there was a condemned building about a block away where we just went in. It had no power, but my amazing production designer, Scott Daniel, set decked these two empty rooms and made them look really awesome. And so, yeah, that was how we achieved that in Little Rock, Arkansas. We shot the whole thing in Arkansas. All the locations are there. And it was an amazing experience. It was like the most film-friendly place I've ever shot.
Well, shout out to Arkansas.
Yes, sir.
And then real quick, you're getting a lot of love in the chat here. So let me just sort of throw these comments up. I don't know if you can see the comments. You can watch the replay.
Wait, I can press chat. What will that do? No.
You'll get to see the chat. Says, yeah, now I got to check the trailer to this movie. And then that's a Jinx says that. Chet's Mom 4 says, movies that I will always give a chance. Anything with Malkovich, Defoe, or Walken. Jinx also says, great John M. impression. Ferguson says, this looks dope. And
nice.
Then Patrick Lemire says, oh, wow, you cast Vernon Davis and John Malkovich.
From my fantasy football team to highbrow cinema, man. That's how I roll. So, yes.
That's great. And Solomon Thornton says, great creators have crazy minds. So there you go. Geek Truth 64 says, no matter who John Malkovich plays, he always has this off-kilter feel that adds something intangible to whatever movie he is in. And then we have a question here from Solomon Thornton says, what films inspired you to be a director? Love the trailer, by the way.
Thank you. And honestly, the most inspirational ones for me were early Coen brothers, and another film that I'm sure you see the influence is Barton Fink, and that one, but more so, honestly, if I had to zero in on one film that really truly inspired me to be a filmmaker, was Raising Arizona. Like, that was the first time I watched a movie, and I was just so in awe of the script, and just so in awe of like how it was this weird, ridiculous premise, but the characters spoke like almost like they were in a Shakespearean play. Like they were so verbose, and just, it was, and that's the kind of writer I've always been, and very old school and very literary. And I was like, oh, okay, like I could actually write just cool little indies where the characters sound intelligent and like actually sound the way they do in the books that I love to read. And so honestly, Raising Arizona was the biggest film, and there's been countless others, and I'm a big science fiction guy, but that was the first time I literally sat down at my computer when I saw that movie when I was probably 14 or 15 and just said, oh yeah, like I'm gonna do this, I want to try this.
Well, a lot of people talking about in the chat. Ferd Turgeson knew he was going to say Raising Arizona.
Nice.
I love Raising Arizona. OMG. And just watch the trailer. Looks amazing, says the film philosopher. Hey, the film philosopher, was good hanging out last weekend at WonderCon. That was a blast. JNNX says, Arkansas has killer tax credits for movies.
Yes, they do.
For filmmakers watching this, Arkansas, I know everybody says Atlanta now and Georgia, but Arkansas. There you go.
Absolutely.
Patrick Lemire says, Arkansas is cheap. I have family there. Nice folks. Was it hard to find a good crew? Like, do they have local,
No, it was probably half local, and then half we brought in from places like Atlanta, Alabama, Louisiana, Nashville. Like, it's a couple hours drive and they'll come in, but I would say half our crew was local in Arkansas, and they're a great crew.
This is an odd question, but I'm just going to ask you from the chat. The film philosopher says, did you ask Rosa to cosplay Alita on set?
Definitely not.
Okay.
She would have told me to go screw myself. No, I'm just kidding. No, I didn't. We talked about Alita, and Rosa's amazing and was so great on set, but no, I did not ask her to cosplay. I'll ask her to do that next time I talk to her. I'll just tell her to send me a picture of herself with the giant eyes. So
great. The chat is loving you. They're leaving to go check out the trailer, or hopefully bookmarking it. But Adam, congratulations on the film.
Thank you.
Been a pleasure chatting with you today. Thanks for taking the time to join us.
Absolutely.
I know you had trouble logging on, but or you maybe didn't have trouble, but I'm sorry, we're in the middle of a conversation.
No, I think they gave me the wrong time, or there was
whatever.
miscommunication because they said 10. They said 1. I'm on the East Coast right now. They said 1. So I was on time. I was ready to rock. So
I don't know, but no, we're all good. And thank you for taking the time to talk to us today. People
let me know if let me know if this is like, if you post these anywhere or anything. Like, I would love to share it if possible. I don't know if you do that, but I would love to.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, I'll clip it. I'll definitely clip
it. Please do. I have a big following on Instagram, so I that my followers always like to see this kind of stuff. So that'd be amazing.
Yeah, we clip the interview kind of because we'll do like a 2 or 3 hour live stream. We clip the interview, we make it a separate thing, so you can just watch your interview. Cool. So we'll make sure to send it to your team. But the film philosopher saying, "I love Rosa. Please introduce us."
No problem.
There you go. But thank you so much, Adam, for joining us on the Film Sweat Livecast. It's been a pleasure. Congratulations on your next project. Awesome. Check out CHARIOT. CHARIOT is available. Well, first of all, it's in theaters a week from today, April 15th, also on streaming on demand. So make sure you check that out. Movies, film sweat.